Welcome back. In the first part of this series, we talked about seeing the value in our values and why so often that we don't act in accordance with them on a day-to-day basis. Now, as we move towards implementing these values in our day-to-day lives, it's important that we take a closer look at just what exactly our individual values are. If you haven't seen the first video in this series, there's a link in the comment section below so you can go back and check it out. But if you don't have time now, don't worry about it. You should easily be able to follow along. Aside from series videos like this, I post similar videos every week, so be sure to click subscribe to get all the new stuff as soon as it comes out. Now let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so when we last left off, we talked about some pretty boring economic terms, I know. But the gist of it was that although the return on investment is high, and we know that it's high for value-based activities in our lives, we most often subvert them due to two things. One, that it's work. Two, that it's uncomfortable. It's simply easier to subvert what is truly most important to us to comfort, rest, TV, leisure activities, whatever the case may be. Number two, postponing what can always be done tomorrow for some sort of instant gratification. We compared it to working out. It's certainly easier to say we'll start next week, which never arrives, while still claiming that our health is important to us. Alright, so for time's sake, I'm going to cut through the bullshit, alright? The last video was all about buying in. If you don't buy into your personal beliefs and values, you're going to simply keep doing the same shit. Bottom line. Wishing for something that has no deadline and will never be lived or realized. What first must happen is some serious self-analysis regarding what you as a person are all about. What defines you as a being? Once you determine this, you can take ownership, and once you own it, you'll be willing to do what it takes to live it. Most of what I'm going to talk to you about today, I've learned from attending training and conducting training, using Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which at the surface is generally perceived as a business tool, but in reality is in fact quite spiritual. It's a sad fact that most of us don't apply the same level of commitment to our personal growth, our health, mindfulness, our spirituality as we do our business. So before we can manifest the life that we choose to live, we must first identify it. If we do not determine our destination, then we allow others to do so for us. And this is where mindfulness comes into play. You must rewrite your own script. Unlearn egoic behaviors, patterns, trauma, principles that affected you and guided you in how you were making your decisions. So as we move through this exercise together and you continue to do it at home, here's a short list of things to keep in mind as we progress along. Number 1, look into your past and examine what seems appropriate and wise. Number 2, identify behaviors that in hindsight do not reflect who you are as a person. Identify which activities were by design and which ones were by default. And number 4, take a closer look at what really aligns with your true nature, your essence in the moment. I personally believe that there are certain eternal truths in the universe, and the universe guides me and helps me to better understand these through love, empathy, and through my conscience. As I mentioned in the last video, in my heart, I believe I truly know what is right. So as you look into your past and as you dig into your heart, there's an exercise from the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People that I'm going to read to you that I think will really help you a lot in this process. So if you'd like to at this time, close your eyes. It might be better to visualize this as I read through it for you. And if you're not in a place where you can actively listen to this passage, I would suggest pausing the video at this point in time and getting to one of those places real quick. Clear your mind of everything except what I'm about to read to you, and what I will invite you to do. Don't worry about your schedule, your business, your family, or your friends. Just focus with me and really open your mind. In your mind's eye, see yourself going to the funeral of a loved one. Picture yourself driving to the funeral parlor or chapel, parking the car, and getting out. As you walk inside the building, you notice the flowers, the soft organ music. You see the faces of friends and family you pass along the way. You feel the shared sorrow of losing, the joy of having known that radiates from the hearts of the people there. As you walk down to the front of the room and look inside the casket, you suddenly come face to face with yourself. This is your funeral, 3 years from today. All these people have come to honor you, to express feelings of love and appreciation for your life. As you take a seat and wait for the services to begin, you look at the program in your hand. There are to be 4 speakers. The first is from your family, immediate and also extended, children, brothers, sisters, nephews, nieces, aunts, uncles, cousins, and grandparents who have come from all over the country to attend. The second speaker is one of your friends, someone who can give a sense of what you were as a person. The third speaker is from your work or profession, and the fourth is from your church or some community organization where you've been involved in service. Now think deeply. What would you like each of these speakers to say about you and your life? What kind of husband, wife, father, or mother would you like their words to reflect? What kind of son or daughter or cousin? What kind of friend? What kind of working associate? What character would you like them to have seen in you? What contributions, what achievements would you want them to remember? Look carefully at the people around you. What difference would you like to have made in their lives? Take a few minutes to jot down your impressions. It will greatly increase your personal understanding of your values. All right, now I know that may have seemed a bit dramatic, and I took that obviously verbatim from the book. So apply it as you see fit to, your own personal life and the relationships that you have. But you get the point. So now here comes the fun part, doing the actual work, putting pen to paper, coming up with a list, creating a list of, call it your values, a mission statement, manifestations, whatever you want to call it, but what's truly most important to you and how you choose to represent yourself throughout the remaining portion of your life. Because before a building can be erected, a blueprint must first be drawn up. So what I'm going to do now is go through my own personal mission statement with you and the logic that I used in arriving where I did. So the first step that I took in taking a closer look at my values as I began this process was to look at the roles that I played in my life. And the passage that I read from Stephen Covey's book hints towards that a bit in reference to who would be attending your funeral, what community members, family members, friends, coworkers, associates, things of that nature. So here's what I came up with, and I think some of the common roles that you'll see as you begin to think about this in your own life. So the first, if you have children, would be a father or a mother. And please bear with me, I write like a 7-year-old. The next role that most of us share is significant other. It could be a husband, a wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, whatever the case may be, you have a mate. The next one is most of us are employed in some way, shape, or form, whether you're an entrepreneur, like myself, a manager, no, that's not an M, a manager, whatever role you play at work is a role you play in your life. But another additional role, I know one that I have is I consider myself a spiritual being, right? Another example of a role or a potential role that you may play is a community member. Whether you're active in volunteering, organized religion, whatever the case may be, even if you're not, you're still a member of the community in some way, shape, or form. I also like to take the first two further, and I also add the role of family member. And family member, grandparents, parents, son, daughter, etc., etc. And here's a few examples of a couple more. Role model, coach, and teacher or mentor. So as you begin to think about these roles, I think it's pretty clear that the roles that you play in your life are a derivative of the values that you hold most important to you. So by examining these in a little bit more detail, it will help you to really pinpoint some of those specific values that act as your constitution, so to speak, in the relationships with others that you have, as well as the relationship that you have with yourself. If you follow my page on Facebook, then you've probably seen me post my mission statement on there before. And the roles that we just talked about were of major consideration when I developed that mission statement. Although they're not directly expressed in my mission statement, it acts as a sort of underlying code of conduct, so to speak, for my life and those roles that I play in my life. So if you haven't seen my mission statement before, I'm not going to torture you with writing it on this board because it'd probably take me an hour and a half and you'd never be able to read it. So here it is. And hopefully it will serve as a sort of guide for you as you develop yours.
My mission statement: forgive, live in the moment, appreciate, be humble, practice moderation, listen to my conscience, not my ego. Love is a verb, embrace discomfort, give without expectations, admit and apologize for mistakes, seek first to understand before being understood, maintain healthy boundaries, act on purpose, not fear, and have fun.
And although this mission statement doesn't specifically address the roles that I play in my life, if I use this as a guide and I act in accordance with it, I feel certain deep within myself that my daily decisions and my actions will fall into the appropriate place. So now it's your turn. Do this exercise on your own. Matter of fact, if you really want to get deep into this, I would highly suggest picking up a copy of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If you have questions as you move through this exercise, please don't hesitate. You can drop a question or a comment in the comment section below, and I will be sure to get back to you within 24 hours. This is not something that is done overnight. It requires deep introspective. So take some time to yourself, sit down Sunday morning with coffee, whatever works for you, and really give it your all. When values are arrived at in this manner, you no longer look at them as being subverted to comfort. They're simply just a part of who you are. And once you've done this, you have a framework so you can be sure that each day contributes to that definition. In this life, we're always busy, but if our activities don't have meaning, then they're not effective. Now, you simply need a means by which to execute your goal in a realistic, tangible manner. And that's what we're going to cover in the wrap-up to this video, how this is actually done, how to manifest a life that accurately represents the wonderful, amazing being that you truly are. I'll provide you with an actual step-by-step guide and give you some documents, some tools to help you along the way. So be sure to click subscribe to get part 3 as soon as it is available, and may peace be with you.